hope everybody has, we're just recording, and this is actually just a reminder for everyone, as you've seen in the invitation, that this meeting will be recorded. So hopefully you will have no problem with this. And if so, please do let us know before, or, take the measures that you would need on this regard. So as I was saying, welcome again to day 2 of this APSRO annual meeting. Just some quick reminders to participants. Please remember that you, although you might not have the chat option available, you do have the question and answer box icon available, and please do post your questions over there to the panelists, and regarding in general the event. We will be going through them and answering some through the chat, but also live through our panelist response. All presentations will be available through the forum website. So if you're missing part of it, you will be able to go back over there and have a look. You have also the link that Michelle just shared on the chat, so you'll be able to go there. And participants, you are able to choose the translation, simultaneous translation in Russian. So please just be aware. Just go to the menu where it says like a little globe and it says interpretation, and you will see there the channel on Russian. And this is also a reminder to our presenters to just speak a bit slowly so the translation can go smoothly. Thank you very much. So those are just the reminders. And jumping into the agenda straight away, just I want to go quickly through some of the recap from day 1 from yesterday. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but just some quick notes by sharing, what was shared yesterday. We've seen that APSRO is still a young entity, but has a huge future. We are welcoming, and we want this to be yours from the country representatives. So ownerships from the countries will be very important after this 3-day meeting. And we are just here to support and to help us as the APSRO partners. We've seen also, we've recognized yesterday through the presentations that the global action needs, support from this kind of entities in getting road safety data management capacity, and effective action relies on improving the evidence base and applying good quality data. And that's the importance of having us here together discussing on this key topics. Globally, there is a road traffic death every 38 seconds. So I don't want to do the math of all of the people we're losing while we are connected and discussing here. So that's why it's so important that everything we're discussing here, we really take it into action straight away in our different, entities and with our responsibilities. And for that, good quality data is very, very important. We've seen from some of the presentations also some of the key factors contributing to fatality, both reported and estimated, the gap for reported and estimated fatality gap. Some of that goes into poor collection across agencies within countries, and also differentiating the definitions between countries. So we've also seen, some of the important parts of how APSRO can help in getting countries supported in getting the reporting and the dissemination of this data, and how to improve these systems as well. We're going to go more into detail. We've seen also a discussion with the WHO on how to align our efforts to get the next global report, and for 2022 that will be published in 2023. We've seen also the new digital way in which this is going to be collected, and hopefully that will make the life of all of you easier, and for all of us using that data as well. And so we encourage countries to improve the data and reporting. And again, this is why we are all here. So without going into more details on what happened yesterday, let's get started with day 2. And for this, I'm going to And sorry, I didn't introduce myself. For all of you that do not know me yet, I'm Marisela Ponce de Leon. I'm a transport specialist within the World Bank, within the Global Road Safety Facility, and also the focal point for BIGRS, the Bloomberg Philanthropies Global Initiative on Road Safety for Asia and the Pacific, and also the focal point from GRSF and the World Bank for APSRO. So I'm very, very happy to be here and to be your moderator for this day 2. So going to day 2 and starting this presentation, I'm going to welcome Mr. Karlin Anwar Abu Qasim, who is the Director General of MIRIS, one of the 11 road safety institutions in the world. And in ASEAN NCAP, he is the Secretary General, one of the leaders in road safety areas to help researchers and engineers to realize the full potential in the safety system. Under Caroline leadership, ASEAN NCAP mission continually improves towards establishing a reliable, independent consumer information for safer cars. More manufacturers have increased the vehicle safety capacity and ability as a result of safety rating and strategies implemented by the team. It is well accepted that to enter to Asian markets, the minimum required rating is now 4 stars, which confidentially translates into the reduction of road fatalities. So admittedly, he will devote himself until vehicle safety becomes a standard and not an option. So with this, we're going to go to his presentation. So please, Michelle, because I know we have this recorded. Thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome to the second annual meeting of the ASEAN Road Safety Observatory. My name is Khairil Anwar. I'm from MIROS, Malaysian Institute Road Safety Research, currently the Director General and also ASEAN NCAP Secretary General. Today I will present about MIROS a little bit and the data that we have cumulatively as vehicle safety data.
Sorry about that. We are
Hello
relaunching
everyone.
this. Here we
Welcome
go.
to the second annual meeting of the ASEAN Road Safety Observatory. My name is Khairil Anwar. I'm from MIROS, Malaysian Institute Road Safety Research, currently the Director General and also ASEAN NCAP Secretary General. Today I will present about MIROS a little bit and the data that we have cumulatively as vehicle safety data. Okay, this is MIROS that we established in 2007. It's already 14 years now. And our vision is to emerge as a world leader in road safety research, together fostering the science and art of road safety intervention. And of course, the world is our target and mastering the ASEAN is the key. And therefore, we are the ASEAN Road Safety Center. We do have a lot of functions, and main function is to develop, promote the use of value add and commercialized research finding, together doing others research and other intervention for road safety. We do cooperate with any person, association and or organization in order for us to do that. We developed based on the act that already approved in Parliament, Malaysian Parliament in 2012 and called Act 748. So MIROS do have the birth certificate, what we call it, and we have received it since 2012. And this is where we are operating now. Our main building or our headquarters in Kajang, Selangor. We do have a crash lab, as you may know, which is in Malacca, around 150 kilometers from KL. And we're going to have our new playing ground, per se, or the MIROS Technology Test Track, which we call MIROS MT3, which should be available in June 2020. So now it's currently under tender process, and we think that we're going to award it in December. So this is our organization. I'm reporting to the board of directors for MIROS, and we are reporting to the Minister of Transport Malaysia. And a part of this, we do have many centers. So since APRSO is requesting for vehicle safety data, the center that we are looking or we are focusing will be the Biomechanic Research Center. So which is Vehicle Safety and Biomechanic Research Center, which is the main activity is to carry out crashworthiness investigation, and we're going to present the data here, and we also doing the crash test to get data for our rating system. And ASEAN NCAP is under MIROS. Is already we're going to celebrate our 10th year anniversary. And what do we have in ASEAN NCAP? I'm sorry, before that, this is 8 December 2011, we signed the between Global NCAP and MIROS and others Automobile Association, the MOU, and then we established ASEAN NCAP, still the youngest in NCAP territory. Okay, we have tested so many models and come up with 136 rating, 28 brands. You can see from BMW to Wuling. So we do have all this data with us, especially on the crash data. As you may see, this is the civic results, which get the 5-star. And in the results, we do have the dummy, the crash data. And what we can say, we also do have the safety item, passive, how many airbags of the variants and seat belts. We do also testing about the child seat that can be installed in the car. And I think it's most important to know is their safety item, active safety item as per se, like electronic stability control, seatbelt reminders, autonomous emergency braking, which is very popular now, and the rest of advanced safety assist technology, which is lane departure, forward collision, lane keep assist, and driver attention monitor per se. But some cars are different with others. So we do have this kind of data in our database. And then also we are highlighting about other item, especially on motorcyclist safety, which is blind spot detection, rear view visualization per se, how does the headlights perform, and etc etc. So this kind of data we requested from manufacturer, and we do test the car with active and passive safety, and we calculate them, and we assess and we award them with ratings. So for this case we give them 5-star. Okay, and we also have this kind of road crash data, which is a lot of secondary data is what we get from the police, and we has installed the data into our system, and we also conduct our own in-depth crash investigation and reconstruction, and some data we obtain from strategic partners. So MIROS in-depth crash investigation and reconstruction is identify in detail as many factors as possible that contribute to crashes and the resulting injuries. So we suggest development of countermeasures that will prevent the same crash from happening again. That's what the reconstruction or investigation for. And you may see the difference between what Malaysia is doing and the rest of ASEAN countries. I could not say more. We can discuss this later because time is running out. And this is what we have done. We have done a lot in previously, but now we are focusing more on motorcycles. Previously, I was focusing on 3DEF and nationwide, but since motorcycle has become too aggressive now, almost 70% of the casualty or fatality comes from motorcycle. We are focusing motorcycle more than others. And this is how we are doing it. We will go to the crash site, we'll do the measurement, identification, and interpreting physical evidence as much as possible, and also doing some reconstruction, kinematic analysis with that. And we come up with we also have the investigation form from the passenger car, motorcycle, lorry, bus, environment, injury, crash database with 300 more variables, and we are producing a lot of findings, specifically based on cases, and this is what we have in our library, and ready to be shared if possible, depending on the case-by-case situation. And uh, in that crash regulation is supporting the UNECE. We make sure that with this kind of reconstruction, we support the upgrading of barrier system. Every weakness that we found, we propose to the government to make it as a policy. So this is what MIROS is doing, and this is what the effectiveness of our reconstruction or investigations. This is the samples of one single bus crash near Ipoh, which causes 10 fatal and 3 injured. This is our animation, which is more easy to advise whether the government or anyone's and how the crash is happening, how did they kill those people, and this is something that MIROS has been doing from 2007. And then we collect the data by our own. I think we do have 1,000 cases like this in MIROS library. So this is the nationwide crash data. This is what we call Pool 27 from the police department, and they do have all the lists here. And we usually took the statistical report and raw data from police, which we always thank them for giving us the data. We have a good relationship, and we create our own crash database. So approximately 400 cases per year, and we do using this data for the new development of any new equipment per se, or new test methodology, etc. So research using trend distribution observation also is something that we are doing from the data, evaluation and accident prone area. So most of the case we give the black spots to the authorities to give more countermeasure to those area. And this is the nationwide crash data that has been established, and we can say that we have achieved our target in 2020. Now we are focusing more on 2030 and how much that we could reduce in future. We have achieved 2020 targets. So um, we also have the other Mohawk specific data, which we blend together in MSDARS as MIROS secondary data, and this also data can be used for research, everything. So thank you. So that is my 10 minute. Thank you for, and I hope to see you again and giving more explanation in a longer time, maybe perhaps in future. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you very much, and it's important to note that we will count with your presence for the panel discussion. So I'm sure there's going to be some questions regarding the interesting presentation and the great information you've shared about MIROS and how you've been using the data, the crash data. So with no more delay, I'm going to now present our second panelist, Dr. Tianjun San, who is the Chief Engineer, Deputy General Manager at Beijing Shuanghongxi Huan Technology, sorry for my pronunciation, subdivision of the Research Institute of Highway Ministry of Transport, China. He leads the China Road Assessment Program, ChinaRAP, and is a member of the International Road Assessment Program's Global Technical Committee. Dr. Swan is currently leading international, national, and provincial road safety projects and has published more than 50 technical papers, 6 road safety research books, and leads ChinaRAP survey and data management system development. So, Dr. Swan, the floor is yours.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon. It's my real pleasure to share some information about ChinaRAP survey and data collection. Next. ChinaRAP is an collaboration between RIO and iRAP. Now we have more than 20 core staff. The vision, our vision is China free of high-risk roads, and also we hope our experience can be used in other countries with similar traffic safety conditions like China. We provide systemic solutions for traffic safety, such as traffic safety management, design improvement, facility management, and traffic risk monitoring and intervention. Our projects cover all kinds of roads, such as expressways, national and provincial roads, rural roads, and urban roads. We have assessed more than 300,000 kilometer roads in more than 28 provinces in China and other 6 countries. Next. For the development of ChinaRAP, before 2007, we signed the cooperation MOU with iRAP. We mainly focus on some local research about traffic safety. And after 2007, we began systemically research and development work, such as survey equipment and the analysis software and the models. Also, we began the active projects in China for China governments, for ADB, for World Bank, and also for some other countries, such as Cambodia, Pakistan, Tanzania, Yemen. Yeah. Next. For ChinaRAP application, we have many scenarios. For policy making, the highway safety to traffic light project is a national level project. We use ChinaRAP to control the safety target. For road network management, we use ChinaRAP to identify the high-risk segments, analyze the high-risk reasons, and make the investment plan. Also, we can do some speed management improvement with support of assessments. For engineering FSR support, we use ChinaRAP tools to do some benefit analysis. For guide design, we use ChinaRAP to do interactive safety designs and to improve the design safety level and to balance the cost and safety. Also, we use ChinaRAP to do some post assessment, such as after the construction, we use ChinaRAP to evaluate the whole safety effects and also evaluate the countermeasure effects in order to improve the future plan and future countermeasure future countermeasures. Next. To support such projects, we have systemic data collection, management, and analysis systems. We focus on multi-source traffic safety data, which includes road crash data, infrastructure data, and other supporting data, such as traffic volume, traffic competition. For data collection, we developed two kinds of survey equipment. Which one is portable survey equipment? Another one is high precise survey equipment. For data management and analysis systems, we have softwares for coding, for road risk assessment, and also for road asset management. Next. This is an example for our portable survey equipment. We can easily take this equipment to anywhere very easily. This equipment can collect the road data such as the distance, road images, road elements, send information such as speed limits, warning and warning signs. And also, we are using some new technologies such as AI to improve the data collection effect and reduce the data collection cost. Next. Also, we have high precision survey equipment for more detailed data collection, such as we use LiDAR, and we use LiDAR and video and AI technologies for this equipment. This equipment can collect very detailed and precise data, such as the height of barrier and the width of road marking layers and other road informations. Next. These are examples for our data management system. The left is the survey software, and the right is the road asset management software. The below are the road risk assessment software like VIDA. Next. During ChinaRAP development and research and active application, we have many cooperations with Chinese central and local governments, and also we have many cooperations with international organizations such as the World Bank, ADB, GRSP, especially many cooperations with iRAP. And we also have many cooperation and good relations with other countries such as Maros, such as Cambodia, such as Netherlands, Transport Bureau. Next. And for ChinaRAP research and development, we are doing some relevant works, which includes we are updating the equipment and data management softwares continuously, and we are developing ChinaRAP methodologies and assessment standards and specifications. Also, we are using new technologies such as AI to automatically do the data collection to increase the data collection effect and use some big data technology to improve the model. And also we are building the big data road risk monitor platform for using the data more effectively. Okay, just some simple, general, and quick introduction about ChinaRAP survey and data collection. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Young. Very interesting presentation. We'll come back with some questions, so please stay tuned. Now, with no further ado, we're going to our next presentation. Please help me welcome Mr. Satya Boran, Deputy Director, Department of Road Traffic Safety, General Department of Land Transport, Ministry of Public Works and Transport, has been working in road safety since 2014 as an official of the Statistic and Research Office, Department of Land Transport, General Department of Transport. Nowadays, he is in charge of the Road Safety Audit Office in the Road Traffic Safety Department. Mr. Satya earned the bachelor degree of the Information and Technology in 2009 and master degree in IT in 2012. Please welcome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Marisa. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, delegates and all participants who attend in this important event. Thanks for having me here. Today, I have a great pleasure to share with you the experience on road trust and data collections from Cambodia. Next, please. In my presentation today, I would like to show you about the Cambodia, the road trust data management in Cambodia, the lesson learned in 2004 on road trust data collections, and also the challenge and way forward for Cambodia. Next, please. About Cambodia. Cambodia is a country located in Southeast Asia, which is the total population in 2019 is around 15 million, and the number of registered vehicles in 2020 is almost 6 million vehicles, and then the growth rate is 11% per annum. If looking at the motorcycle, the number of motorcycles accounted for 85% of total registered vehicle. Next, please. If we take a look on the road trust data or road trust situation in Cambodia, in 2019, there were 2,152 fatalities and 4,097 serious injuries were reported. On average, nearly 4 people died and 11 people were serious injury every day. And 47% of fatality were aged between 5 to 29 years old. Speeding was the leading cause, accounting for 46%, followed by dangerous overtakings and not respect right of way. Farmer is the fatality represent the large group of the fatality, accounted for 34%. And if looking at the amount of the student fatality, primary school student accounted for 33%. And motorbike driver is the largest group of involved in the fatality in Cambodia, accounted for 75%. Next, please. About the road crash and victim information system. The Observatory is a national road crash data system that can provide accurate, continuous, and comprehensive information on crash and victim for the purpose of increased understanding of the current road safety situation, to plan the appropriate response and policy, and to evaluate the impacts of the current and the future initiative. Please allow me to show you some background of the Observatory, why we have Observatory. From 1990, there were 3 ministries were involved in road crash data collections, but at that time they do collect the data collection in collect the data of road crash individually, so data cannot be combined, data cannot be linkage. But in 2004, HIB, or Handicap International Beijing at that time, have noted that there needs for improvement for road crash data collection in Cambodia. So at that time, the HIB have supported the government of Cambodia to develop the Observatory system and established in 2004. And later on, in 2010, the IRAP and SWOG, or database, is due to with merging the data together. And also in 2010, the HIB for Secretary of now developing the new web-based system. Next, please. I would like to show of Observatory. As we follow the of the fatality or serious injury for data collection, especially we follow the guideline of data collection from WHO, and we have data collection. The data can be linked between police data and hospital data, and the system has function to check the duplicate data. And we also have the guideline to fill the road crash form for police and hospital in order to ensure that they fill in the form correctly. Next, please. And here is the structure of the data collections in Cambodia. In the red structure on the left-hand side is the structure of the data collection from hospital. And from hospital side, they collect all victim information from public health facility and also from private clinics. And they send daily to daily report to the Ministry of Health, and Ministry of Health monthly, they collect only the road crash and victim information and then send to the National Road Safety Committee. On the right-hand side, a blue structure, the police also collect the data when the crash happened, but they collect only the crash data and they daily send to the Ministry of Interior on the crash data, and then monthly the Ministry of Interior send the data to the National Road Safety Committee. Next, please. Here is the process of how we develop and establish a report. First, we collect the data from site, from hospital and police. And then we do the data verification on follow-up if we found that the data is something wrong or some missing information, so we can check. And after that, we do the data entry and storage. And we do the data cleaning and analyze. In this process, we check the duplicate data, which is the data that we link from police and hospital data. And we do the report writing and establish their annual report or summary report. Next, please. With this report, we could increase the understanding of the current road situation of Cambodia road safety, and we can increase the political willing, and also we can plan the appropriate response and policy, and also we can evaluate the impact of the current of the future initiative. Also, we can evaluation of the key performance indicators such as helmet wearing, substance use, and others. And this report also be used as the primary reference for researchers, media, and partners as well. Next, please. I would like to show you about what we have learned since 2014. Next, please. So, in this slide, I would like to share with you what Cambodia have learned from about the data collections in Cambodia. First, I would like to share with you that we have 5 important key issues in order to sustain the data collection in Cambodia. First is about the leading agency for road safety. This is important because without the leading agency for road safety, we cannot have a good collaboration among stakeholders. We cannot work very well with each other with the less or shortage of financial support, and we need the strong commitment from the leading agency in order to sustain the data collection. Second, we have to follow the standard of road crash data guideline, especially we follow the WHO guideline in order to collect the data to ensure that our data can be shared or can be compared with other countries internationally. Third, the database linkage between police and hospital. This is another important thing that we need to consider, need to focus on, which is one, we need to have a nationwide form in order to ensure that all provinces or all states, we need to follow the same structure, the same form, and also we ensure that the data use the same coding. On fourth point, we need the training and evaluation. Why we need training? Because in Cambodia, we also have some problem with staff rotation or officer rotation. So training, regular training, we need to conduct every year in order to refresh them, in order to ensure that they can fill in the form correctly and motivate them, because this is an extra work for them to fill this form. And the last one is the regular system update, or update the system regularly. We need to update because the modern technology always update days by day. So our system also need to be updated to ensure that our system work properly, and then also to ensure that our system can improve, can reduce the time to process the data analysis or support us from other things. Next, please. I would like to share also my challenge, the road crash data challenge in Cambodia as well. Due to we have some shortage of the financial support and also not sustained financial support. We have some shortage of the capacity building on data collection to our official. And then also the system is also out of that comparing to the modern technology in the present. And the unsustainable financial support is our key issues, and we are faced with underreporting as well. I would like to take this opportunity to thank to ITF, SWOF, and also World Bank, ADB, who support us previous year to review on road crash data collection in Cambodia. And we have some recommendation and space for improvement. And we will try to improve our road crash data system. Due to we saw the report from WHO that Cambodia also faced some underreport issues. And I would like to take this opportunity also to request to the WHO and also relevant stakeholders who participate in this event to support us as technical support or finance support in order to improve the road crash data system in Cambodia, to modernize the system, and so on. Next, please. So the way forward, we are committed to improve our road crash data system by digitalize the police and hospital data collection. We don't use the hard copy form. We will change to use the digitalized road crash data collection. And we also plan to upgrade the current all-service system in order to meet the modern technology, and also to conduct the training regularly to the police and hospital in order to ensure the quality of data collection. And also we are seeking for the sustainable finance support as well. I think that's all for my presentation, and thank you so much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Satya. Very interesting presentation and very exciting way forward that you've mentioned. And I mean, at least from the partners here present, and in particular from GRSF and the World Bank, count on our support. You know, we've been working together closely, so count on that to continue in the coming years. So we'll have more discussion on that. But before getting to the discussion, our last presenter for now is going to be Myrick Pala, my colleague. Hello, Myrick. He is a road safety consultant for the Asia Pacific region in the World Bank. He has supported the institutionalization of road safety data management systems in the Philippines, Vietnam, Samoa, Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, Myanmar, Laos, Bangladesh, among others. He is also supporting the creation of the Asia Pacific Road Safety Observatory, working closely with the Asian Development Bank. And he has multiple years of experience in road safety data and has led capacity building activities for police and local government units in the Philippines. So he has a lot of experience on this topic. So I welcome him and to share a bit more on the guidelines for conducting road safety data reuse. Thank you, Marek.
Thank you very much, Maricela, for that introduction. Hello, everyone. I am Myrick Paala again, and I'm here to present our work in the World Bank, ITF, GRSF, and UK Aid on road safety data reviews. This work is, the main author of this work is actually Heike Martensen, and we're a group of experts from the different international organizations. We know that conducting road safety data reviews is a very much daunting task. So, which is why we did this report so that future reviewers, future governments would be able to know how to start already assessing their data and to start improving the data collection and management in their own countries. Next slide, please. So our objective for developing these guidelines is basically for the reviewers. It can be international consultants or local consultants, the academe or governments who would wish to start their own assessment of road safety data in a certain country or locality. Uh, our other aim is to harmonize these assessments. It's to guide the reviewers what questions to be asked during consultations, what methods to do in the assessment, and what recommendations can be derived from the findings of the assessments. Finally, we identify the preparations needed, who are the stakeholders to consult and to partner with or to collaborate with, what activities to be done, what documents have to be reviewed, among many others. Basically, the scope of the report is from the whole data collection process, covers the whole data collection process. So this includes the actual collection of crash data on the crash site, to the investigation, to checking data quality, to how the data is stored and shared to other stakeholders. The primary focus of the report is crash data, but also other types of road safety data are considered, such as safety performance indicators. The report is will be published soon, so and will be published publicly to the benefit of all stakeholders. Next slide, please. So for the reviewer, again, it's the data review is such a complicated task. It would be good to start off with a preliminary situational assessment with the host government or host client or country. It would be good to be familiar with what with international best practice or emerging technology, emerging issues that are experienced globally when it comes to collecting road crash data. It would also be good to listen to the client as to what already has been done, what they are doing in terms of data. And it's also good to have a preliminary look and review as to what is happening on the ground. How does the official recorded data compare with global estimates, such as those from the WHO or from the Global Burden of Disease study? And to see the level of underreporting, and if there are any existing studies, what are the findings regarding data? And when you have those three things, you can actually determine at which area is the host country or host client in, or are what are they experiencing currently. So for example, if the country is at a stage or is at the number one area, meaning that the government knows what needs to be done and it reflects international best practice, and at the same time it reflects the realities on the ground as well, then the data review would focus on how to strengthen these current efforts, how to sustain them, or how to make them how to strengthen them, the current efforts. If the country is at, for example, stage 2, where the government knows what needs to be done, they promote it to all stakeholders, and it aligns with what is happening around the world of international best practice. But the reality is on the ground. For example, the police do not know about this. The resources are not enough to actually accomplish what the government is wanting to do. Then the data review can focus on resources, can focus on observing the realities on the ground, and finding the gaps on why government declarations are not consistent with what is actually happening at the crash scene or on the ground. If the country is at stage 3, for example, when the realities on the ground is actually reflecting best practice, but the government doesn't know about this or is not consistent with this, then the data review would be focusing why the realities on the ground are not sustained nationwide, why they are not scaled up, why they are just ad hoc best practice, but is not being funded, is not being legislated or formalized into the main institutional arrangement of the government. And finally, if the country is at stage 6 or at area 6, where the declarations of the government um, is consistent with what is happening on the ground, but is not currently reflected by international best practice, then it is good whether it can be on the good side when these efforts are actually very customized, localized, and contextualized to the country. And what needs to be done is that this practice needs to be shared to other countries, and the APRSO is actually a good platform for countries to share their own best cases for collecting data, and this can also be used by other contexts as well. Next slide, please. So now if the reviewer and the host country and the client knows where they are at, then they can start to identify the objectives of the data review. They can start to, to determine whether they would need a full revamp of the data collection process, or they would just need to offer recommendations on how to build capacity, build collaboration among stakeholders. They can also, upon this situational assessment, preliminary situational assessment, they can start to already set the scope of the review, whether this should be a one week review with the stakeholders or a 1 week observational study, whether safety performance indicators and other types of data can be included in the review. And it is at this stage that they should be already identifying and appointing task teams, which would be the experts that would be needed, whether it's whether they would need police representatives from the police in the review team or representatives from the health sector. Um, and it's also important here to identify which stakeholders are relevant to be consulted. Next slide, please. And now, prior to the visit or prior to the consultations or the review process, it's good for the host team or the client and the review team to be able to work together. This is not just a work that should be done by the review team. The host team should be active in providing the review team with the needed data, the needed documents, for example, in guiding the review team, which actors or representatives need to be involved in the review, in providing the review team with actual data so that the review team can then review these materials and see and check for completeness and consistency of data, make some initial comparisons of the experience of the country with other international experience, and review earlier studies as well. Next slide. So this is a sample table of what the review team and the host team can do prior to the actual review. So for example, it would be good for the host team to provide the review team with police and insurance data, hospital data, exposure data, data on safety performance indicators, among many others. And this is a sample table that our reviewers can use. Next slide. So this is a summary of the preparatory activities. First, to determine the scope and objectives, to be able to have access to relevant data, to organize the meetings, identify stakeholders, undertake literature review, um, have a preliminary inspection of the data that is available, then already prepare for the actual consultations. The consultations shouldn't be something that is just an introductory session with the stakeholders. It should be something where deep discussions or more impactful and meaningful discussions should already be done, not just a very surface level discussion. So, for example, this should already be synthesizing the research, the earlier research that has been done. Next slide, please. Now, during the review proper or country visit or uh, the actual review of the crash data, we recommend to conduct semi-structured interviews with this is basically an interview wherein you have guideline or guide questions already prepared, but the review team should be open to elaborating more on these guide questions. So, for example, it would be okay to deviate from the set of guide questions just to investigate further on a specific topic. And the agencies to consult should not just be the police. It should include stakeholders such as hospitals, statistics office, the lead agency for road safety, the civil those who manage the civil registration systems, insurance companies. It's also important to consult advocacy groups and even media and academia, because usually they conduct their own surveys, they pilot their own database systems, which can be a source of inspiration for improving data collection in nationwide. So each of these agencies collect different types of data. Again, I would like to echo the sentiments of the previous presenters that road safety data is not just crash data. It includes safety performance indicators, mobility data, exposure data, among many others. So, for example, the police might be handling a crash database system, but they might also have a case management system. Um, the lead agency for road safety or for transport or road authority would have their own licensing and vehicle registration system. Hospitals would have their health database and injury surveillance. The statistics office would often be managing the civil registration, would manage census and surveys, and there would be ad hoc data collection activities as well. Next slide, please. So again, the topics to discuss for the police, it would be from notification of the crashes, how are the police notified when a crash happens, until the legal framework. Same with hospitals. So it would be important, for example, for in the health sector, to determine how hospitals are organized, whether um, how if there is a strong public arrangement for hospitals, or whether this is dominated by private hospitals. This is important to to note, so that any improvements on database would not just include the government but also the private sector. And there would also be formal and informal arrangements. For example, in the health sector, there would be the hospitals, but there would also be those who would be providing informal care, such as those which provide traditional medicine, among many others. So those topics are important to include in the discussion. And other topics that should be included should go beyond data. For example, what would be the barriers for citizens to report data to the police or to the hospitals? It can be the case that there are social customs that prevent the government from capturing the needed data. So for example, if a crash happens and a fatality happens, whether the families of those who have suffered from the fatality would bury their loved ones right away. Therefore, it wouldn't be captured by the formal processes of the government. Or it can be the case that because of the high hospitalization costs or high litigation costs, that those who are victimized by crash fatalities would not report these instances to the police or to the hospitals. So these are things that are often left out in these assessments and um, and should be widely investigated and considered when trying to improve data. Next slide, please. In our data review report, we have provided a preliminary report outline for data reviewers to guide them how to write the assessment. We also have a terms of reference for governments who would wish to conduct their own, who would wish to hire their own consultants to conduct their own assessment of data. Next slide, please. So this is just the report outline. Next slide. And finally, slide before, please. So finally, I just wish to reiterate road safety data is important for us to make impactful and meaningful decisions in road safety. A data review would help countries to be able to address the gaps on on the reporting, to identify possible sources of challenges and issues in road safety data. And road safety data is not just limited to crash data. It includes other data such as safety performance indicators. The guidelines are here and will be published soon to provide support for experts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Myrick. Very interesting, and we're hoping, we hope that these tools will be used by the countries, because as you said, it's already including some templates and the guideline of how can they do it directly. So we hope that this will be used. So we are over time now. I still do want to get a couple of questions to the panelists. So if it's okay, I'll do just one question each. So there's going to be a lot of questions unanswered because I do have a lot of questions for everyone. So I'm going to start. Let me say, wait, I have a couple. Well, sorry, I'm going to start with a general question for everyone, and actually with a great comment that I cannot see exactly the name, how to pronounce it. So I'm sorry, I'm going to miss that, but you're going to know who am I talking about. That makes a very strong comment saying that we are stronger together. So thanking us for putting together this event. Thank you for that comment. And so there is a general, an important question on this. It's a little bit long, so I'm going to try to read it. On the reconstruction and investigation of road accidents, investigation of transport crimes, tell me about algorithms and according to what methods examinations are carried out. Are photogrammetry programs used to accurately recreate the trace and material environment at the scene? Assessments and study of deformation and trace analysis of trace of transport road infrastructure. Records of objective means of fixation, videos, photos. How do they help in reconstructing the actual circumstances and determining the degree of guilt of the participants? The causal analysis of their actions with the fact of an accident and the consequences that have occurred. Somebody can answer to that sophisticated long question? Or part of it, because I know there were like many questions in one, So just part of it. Can somebody from your perspective answer part of that question? If not, I think it comprehends a lot of things. So I think it's difficult to answer all of it. But I think some of the questions I have noted here go into a little bit of in a more general way on particulars of that question. So I'm going to go ahead with Dr. Young. And the question, I have two quick questions for you. One is, how was the use of iRAP in China help bringing road safety stakeholders together around the safe system? And the second question, also very brief, your answer, is could you please share with us how many kilometers of roads have you assessed and improved in China during the past 5 years? Thank you. Dr. Zhang? If you are answering, you're on mute. I still see you on mute. Dr. Tier-Jun? No? Do you want me to repeat the questions? Now we can hear you.
Okay.
Thank you.
第一个问题你明白了吗？把这些人都集中在一起。
Can you hear us?
Okay. For the ChinaRAP application, the key opportunity for us is the HSEP national level projects. With this in this project, we use ChinaRAP as a tool to support the high-risk segments identification, high-risk reasons analysis, and make the investment plan. During this works, we made some suggestions to the MOT, and also we made some trainings for relative persons, such as the local authorities and the designers, and also some person who has interest in the RAP methodology. This is the first question. For the second one, we have assessed more than 300,000 kilometers all kinds of roads, which includes expressways, provincial and national roads, national highways, rural highways, and parts of urban roads. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. That's an important number. Also considering China, it's a very impressive work in only 5 years, right? So looking forward to see how China is going to, share more of that actual expertise in doing these assessments with the rest of the region, and hopefully this will be a good scenario to do that. So thank you very much, Dr. Young. Going to Satya Boran.
It's our pleasure. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Going quickly to Satya Boran. I have also two quick questions. The first one goes, we understand that over 70% of power two-wheeler deaths in Cambodia involve non-helmet wearing. So what programs are you delivering to address this, and how are you measuring progress? And the second quick question is, what would you say are the 3 most relevant policies that have been adopted based on the gathered and published data? Back to you. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Marisela. Respond to the first question. I would like to tell you that in order to collect the road crash data related to the helmet wearing, normally the police do collect this kind of data, and then they collect when the crash happened, and when the police arrive at site, and they have identified that the driver have wear the helmets or not. So we can collect that data like that. And on the other hand, if the police is not arrive the crash scene on time, and then police have asked for the witness in order to fill in the form of the helmet wearing rate. It's something like that. Is that respond to your question, Marisa?
Thank you. Yes, of course. Thanks. And the 3 most relevant policies that you have been adopted based on the gathered published data, and what legislative governance arrangements are in place to support this?
Sorry, maybe I'm not clear with your questions. So please kindly ask me.
So the second question was, Cambodia appears to have a good level of data management connectivity across government agencies. What legislative and governance arrangements are in place to support this?
Okay, thank you for your question. For Cambodia, in order to have a good organization structures, first we have established the National Road Safety Committee, who is the leading agency, who is the one who chairs by Deputy Prime Minister. So Deputy Prime Minister can manage or can organize all other stakeholder or other intermediary in order to work together to have a good collaborate together to do this road crash data collection. So with the result of this good governance, we can have a team, a strong team that work together and could collect the data with strong commitment. That's why we can do the sustained data collection. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Satya Puran. I'm just running because we're really out of time. So I just have one quick question for Myrick. Regarding, based on the guidelines for reviewing the quality of road safety data, what would you say are the top 5 challenges you've been facing when supporting the improvement of, crash and road traffic injuries data collection, or, the improvement of it? Thanks.
That's a great question, Maricela, and I'm sure different reviewers would have different experiences. For my part, one of the greatest hindrances would be the unavailability of data, or if we don't receive any material from the government, which actually prevents us from having contextualized, customized, and very specific recommendations. That's one of the things that is a barrier in providing effective recommendations in data assessments. Maybe the other thing, and I think this would be common to everyone right now, is the COVID setup, the setup that we have right now because of COVID, because of the lack of travel, especially if you are an international consultant, then it would be difficult to conduct observational studies on the ground because there's no way to do that actually. And even the consultations become very diluted because of the virtual setup. it's really a different experience when you get to talk to personally to the stakeholders. So I think well, five is too much. So maybe those are the two most
Okay.
difficult barriers right now.
That's perfect. Thank you very much, Mary. Thank you, everyone, all our panelists. I think I'm sorry we couldn't post all the questions. Some of them are in the chat, so I invite you to answer them if you can in the chat box. That would be great. So stay tuned. And I'm going to jump straight away to our next presentation on our discussion on infrastructure safety data for APSRO. And for this, I'm welcoming Greg Smith, the Global Program Director of iRAP. He is, as I was saying, sorry, the Global Program Director at the International Road Assessment Program, iRAP, a charity dedicated to preventing serious road crashes, which are the leading cause of death for young people worldwide. Greg works in partnership with governments, multilateral development banks, non-government organizations, and industry around the world, advocating for safer roads, supporting the development of policy and the establishment of local road assessment programs, and leading star rating for schools, training, and accreditation. So welcome, Greg. Thanks a lot for being here, and back to you. I think you're going to share your presentation by yourself. Yeah. Okay, there you go. So we can just put it in presentation mode.
Yeah, thanks very much, Maricela, and thanks everyone for joining the meeting today. I know we're running a little behind schedule, so I'll keep this a little swift. So I've been invited to talk about infrastructure data for the APRSO. Just as a little bit of background, in case you're not aware, iRAP, the International Road Assessment Program, is a charity. Our vision is simple, just to help create a world free of high-risk roads. You can find out some recent information that we've published about our support for the new Decade of Action for Global Road Safety on our website. We've published our strategy for the next 5 years, including our targets and our focus, which you can see a link on the left-hand side there. And also we've updated information on our website about the tools that are available that make use of the iRAP methodology. And just as a reminder, the iRAP methodology is totally free. And it's now being used in more than 100 countries around the world. So on our website, in the RAP tools menu, you can find out information about those tools and where they fit into the life cycle of a road, whether it's at the planning, design, or construction stage. Also, just want to take a chance to say thank you and acknowledge all of the partners that we have the opportunity to work with around the world. We've had amazing success at collaborating with people all around the world in many countries, and it's thanks in big part to the organizations that we get to work closely with, particularly our donors at the FIA Foundation and our key supporters at the Global Road Safety Facility. So just a little bit of context on the policy side of things about infrastructure data. Obviously, the overriding, I guess, policy document now is the new global plan for the Decade of Action for Road Safety, which was just released. And hopefully you've all had a chance to take a look at that and have a read. There's a section about infrastructure that includes, I think, 8 different recommendations, or perhaps 7 different recommendations specifically about infrastructure. And they form a very logical tree of actions and activities that every country can adopt and adapt for their specific context. All of these rely on good data in some form. Perhaps the ones that are most relevant to the discussion today are maybe the last 2 ones, and particularly the idea of doing proactive safety inspections of your target network, of the network, so inspecting the roads to collect data about the roads, and setting a safety performance target for each road user based on that data with clear measurable metrics. And the plan talks about, for example, sidewalk provision, asking the question, what percentage of my road network where there's pedestrians has sidewalks, for example. So that's an overarching policy that we're working with. Connected to the global plan is what's called the Global Road Safety Performance Targets. And these were actually adopted before the plan was developed, but they've now been integrated into the plan. There's 2 key targets that relate specifically to infrastructure. Target number 3 says that all new roads should be designed to account for safety of all road users and achieve a 3-star rating or better. And target 4 talks about ensuring that most travel, so where there's 75% of travel on existing roads, occurs in a way that's safe for all road users. So those roads are, I guess, upgraded and improved to account for the safety of all road users. So these are the key performance targets that we're very focused on supporting countries to adopt and sometimes adapt as needed and achieve. Just to give you 2 very quick examples of good practice in this region about how those policies are being supported with I guess, technical documents and national strategies. Number 1 is what's called the Asian Highway Safety Standard or Design Standard, which was developed by SCAP. And that sets out the requirements for the Asian highway network in order for it to achieve or comply with that 3-star rating or better. So it sets out the design arrangements for each class of the highway, whether it's class 1, 2, 3, or 4, what things need to be added in what circumstances in order for that road to be considered 3 stars or better and achieve that safety performance. And it's complemented by the design guidelines, which elaborate on lots of the different types of road attributes that can be added to the networks and why and how they work. So you can find information about that on the UNSCAP website and the APRSO website. Another good example that you might like to take a look at about how the global plan and the targets are getting operationalized at the national level is in Vietnam. We heard a great presentation yesterday from the Transport Safety Committee of Vietnam talking about their national strategy. And in terms of infrastructure, they've done something that's very interesting, very practical, and we think is going to have a good effect. So for example, they've set that target to say 75% of the national highways should achieve that 3-star rating or better. They've also said 100% of the provincial road network and 50 to 80% of the district level network should have safety equipment installed. On the expressways, they're talking about smart transport management and control systems. So those 2 sets of documents are really good examples for you to take a look at. And you might get ideas about how you can put the global plan into practice. As Myrick just said earlier, in terms of data to support road safety, there's much more data that's needed and necessary than just crash data alone. And when we think about data, we broadly categorize it into 2 categories. One is reactive data and one is proactive data. Reactive data is crash data. That's where we look at deaths happening, we try to see patterns where that is occurring, and then we respond. So we're reacting to that data. Proactive data is more about looking at the road network in terms of infrastructure, looking at the road network and making forecasts about what is likely to happen in the future. And that becomes very powerful because then we can start to say, okay, we don't need to wait for crashes to occur. We can systematically look at the network, see how it's designed, see how it's being used, and make decisions about how we're going to proactively improve the network. So some of the reasons why infrastructure data is important is because there's very strong evidence linking road design with the likelihood of crashes happening and their severity. So you change the design of the road, don't change anything else, and you're going to get a different road safety outcome. That data is also very reliable. Like, it's very easy to manage and measure. You can go out onto your road network and literally measure how many traffic lanes there are, how sharp are the curves, where the intersections are. These things, for the most part, they don't change over time. A few attributes do deteriorate over time and some things do change, but for the most part, the road infrastructure itself is very solid. It's just sitting there and it can be measured with great accuracy. And as I said, by systematically collecting this data across entire networks, we get a very strong understanding of the level of risk that's built into the network in different areas. That then becomes very actionable data that we can make decisions about how we can invest and how we can improve the network over time. And so it gives us that chance to be very proactive. But also it helps us very much to link to complementary agendas. If you take a look at the global plan for the Decade of Action for Road Safety, you'll see that there's a section in there that talks about multimodal transport and land use planning. And that is very much linked to the growth of populations in cities and the realization and the recognition that building roads simply for private cars is not going to be able to move enough people around efficiently as cities grow. There's going to be a need for focus on public transport, for example. But also as we move into a world where climate change is becoming seriously addressed, and right now we have the COP26 meetings, there's going to be an increasing focus on understanding how we can move people around networks with no carbon footprint. And public transport, but active modes of transport like walking and cycling are going to be increasingly important to support that. So infrastructure data is also really valuable for supporting those sorts of policy measures and ensuring that they develop in a safe way. What do we mean when we're talking about infrastructure data? There's basically three categories of data that are related. The first one is speed, and speed is really one of these topics, or the topic that crosses all aspects of road safety. Speed is absolutely central to everything that we do in safety. But it's really closely linked to the infrastructure itself, the road attributes, like whether there's sidewalks, how the intersections are designed, how many traffic lanes there are. The two things go together very, very closely. And the way you often think about it is you need to adjust the design of your the road attributes, in order to accommodate the speed that you want to have the network operating at. Broadly speaking, if you want traffic speeds to be high, you're going to have to add a lot of road attributes and a lot of road design to accommodate that safely. But the flows on the road network are also incredibly important part of the infrastructure data story. And that, of course, also goes together very closely with the road attributes and the speeds. And when we talk about flows, it's not just the motorized vehicles, it's not just cars and trucks and buses. It's also what are the flows of motorcycles? What are the flows of pedestrians, both along the road and across the road at different points on their network? What are the flows of bicyclists and e-bikes, for example? So collecting data in each of those three categories is incredibly important for developing an understanding about how your network is being used and how it's likely to be performing and what you can do to make improvements in the future. And of course, those three sets of data can be put together to create safety performance indicators, which I'll tell a little bit more about soon. But basically, the iRAP star ratings are an example of a safety performance indicator that brings together these three categories of data. Just to dwell for a moment a little more on the road attributes, so that third category of data. In the iRAP model, there's 52 different road attributes that get collected in an assessment every 100 meters along the road. Each one of those attributes we know influences the risk of someone being killed or seriously injured on the road. There's virtually nothing you can do with the design of a road that doesn't somehow have some impact on the safety of someone. So these things include how many traffic lanes there are, is there line marking, are there lines on the road, is there intersections, are there sidewalks, is there a median in the center of the road to split the traffic. All of these attributes, there's quite strong evidence internationally about their linkage to the likelihood of someone being killed or seriously injured. So by systematically collecting this sort of data, you get that systematic understanding about where risk is likely to happen without the need for actually referring to crash data, because we know that there's that research linking crashes and designs already. You can take a look, if you like, at the iRAP methodology to explore more about what these are. There's a link on the bottom of the screen. But also there's a manual on our website called the Coding Manual. And this is the manual that explains exactly what we mean by each one of these attributes. When we say paved shoulder, what do we mean by that exactly, and how do you measure that? The power of that manual is that it's the same manual that gets used in every iRAP assessment all around the world. So it's very standardized approach to measuring that data. And by having that standardized approach, it means that it makes it easier and more reliable to collect data consistently over time across many different countries. And that data is being collected very extensively already. So just to give you a few examples about some of these attributes and how the data is looking, how you can think about some of it. This is a slide that was presented by the company TomTom during our recent innovation workshop, which focused on data and innovation. And it shows data that complies or that supports very much that UN target number 4, where I said, we need to focus on ensuring safe, or the roads that account for 75% of travel are safe. So this is showing the data that they have for the Vietnamese road network. On the picture on the left, you can see the network is about 133,000 kilometers of roads. But they've calculated that about 75% of the travel, of the kilometers traveled in Vietnam, happens on about 13,000 kilometers of roads. So about 10% of the roads account for 75% of travel. And why are we interested in 75% of travel? Because that's where most of the deaths are likely to be happening on the road network. So it gives you a very powerful understanding about where you might focus your efforts in road safety over the next decade. You don't necessarily have to collect detailed data on your entire network all the time. Focusing on those roads that are highest exposure is where you're going to get the largest returns quickly in terms of lives saved. But the power of this data also is that it links it with speed limits as well. So we can start to see on that right-hand side what the speeds are on that 10% of roads. And you can see there's a big grouping of speeds that are at that 80, 90, 100 kilometers and even 120 kilometer marks. So we've already got information in many countries that's reasonably accessible in terms of understanding where the majority of travel happens and at what speeds that they're happening. These are absolutely fundamental data for any road or any country, I guess, that's working on its road network. It's absolutely essential to know where people are traveling and what speeds that they're traveling. So the question, I guess, for everyone in this meeting is, where does 75% of travel occur on your network and what speed does it happen? That's a key question to answer quite early. Just touching again on some of the attributes in a little bit more detail. I guess the point I was making earlier is that there's very clear evidence about the linkage between the likelihood of crashes happening and their design. And this is an example, a simple example, a couple of examples of a road without any lines and one with lines. The purpose of drawing lines on a road is to help guide the drivers and the motorcyclists along the road so that they can literally see where it goes. It's important for daytime, but also especially important for nighttime. It's perhaps the most basic piece of infrastructure safety that any network needs to have. And so a quick question would be, what percentage of your network currently has good line marking? The benefit of understanding that is that this sort of line marking, it can be put in fairly easily as part of maintenance programs, but also as part of any sort of investment program. So very basic thing, but a very key piece of information to know about your network. Another example is to question what percentage of your network has good quality, slow speed crossings where pedestrians are crossing the road. The photo on the left is an example with a family crossing a busy multi-lane road. There's no facility for them at the ground level, and so they face some high level of risk. We know that the design on the right-hand side that separates out the traffic flows, and also it's got that crossing that's slightly raised, so it forces the vehicles to slow down and be in I guess, drive across the pedestrian crossing in a very predictable way, is lower risk. We know that's from very strong evidence that people are much less likely to be killed or seriously injured in that sort of design. So what percentage of your network has safe crossings in place now? Another example is in terms of treating head-on crash. This is a road in Thailand. On the left-hand side, you can see before any improvements were made, there was no median in the center, so just that yellow line that runs along the center. So head-on crashes did occur on this sort of road, and they're very common on this sort of road, not just in Thailand, but many countries. They put in a crash barrier in the center of the road that also enabled them to put the street lighting in on the center of the road. After they put that treatment in, there has not been a single death on that road, whereas beforehand there was deaths occurring. In this case, it's basically like a vaccine for serious head-on crashes. They just do not happen anymore. So a question to ask again about your network is, what percentage of the network where most people travel has a median treatment in place? And if that sort of treatment is too expensive, there's lower cost treatments that are also being used very effectively. In this case, on the photo on the right-hand side is what we call a wide center line treatment with vibration lines. Much cheaper than a safety barrier, not as effective as a safety barrier, but does have some effect, absolutely. So again, what percentage of your network has that sort of median treatment in place? We know as you increase the percentage of your network with those sorts of treatments, the numbers of deaths that you're going to see is going to go down. And I think the last or second last one is for bicyclists as well. These are examples in the Philippines where over the last few years, particularly during COVID, the length of bicycle lanes installed has increased by about 300 kilometers, a very significant increase compared to where we were at before. So again, what percentage of your network has good quality bicycle lanes in place? Each of these questions help lead you to a point about understanding where the fundamental risk on your network is and what you might do about it. This is an example from Pakistan where the entire national network was assessed. And you can see that by layering together each of these data sets, we can form even more sophisticated understandings about where particular risks might be. So in the map on the right-hand side, what we did was layer together the sections of road where speed is more than 80, there's sharp curves, there's roadside hazards, no paved shoulder, and poor delineation. We know this combination of factors leads to a very high risk that vehicles and motorcycles will run off the side of the road. And when they do, that creates a serious injury and or death. By taking that very strategic approach, you can see that less than 1% of the national highways can fit that filter. So that's something, 229 high-risk locations, something that could be very practical to treat very quickly in a mass action program. So we can answer the question in Pakistan with this data on the national network, which accounts for a large percentage of travel. We know what percentage of the network has high risk of runoff. So it's very powerful data. And again, we don't need to wait for the crash data to develop and come along. We can act on this data very quickly. So pulling all this together on our website, you can find a fact sheet where we've listed key performance indicators that countries can consider adopting. And these indicators are going to drive you towards tracking how you can achieve targets 3 and 4, the global performance targets, bringing together the speed, the flow, and the attribute data. So for example, what percentage of your network is operating at 40 kilometers an hour or more, has pedestrians trying to cross the road, but doesn't have any pedestrian crossing facilities. Or for example, what percentage of your intersections are on roads where traffic flows at 60 kilometers an hour or more and doesn't have turning provision to help prevent rear-end crashes. Or what percentage of your road where there's traffic traveling at 60 kilometers an hour or more and has high motorcycle flows, but doesn't have any motorcycle facility. Those sorts of metrics are going to be very powerful for tracking your safety performance across your network. So that information is available on our website at that link below. So the question for you is, a question is how do we access this data and how do we measure that data? And as I said before, the iRAP methodology, it's freely available. So you can today start applying it and using it as little or as much as you like in your countries. But there's also a couple of sources where data is already being collected and it gives us a lot of insight in many of the countries already. So one of the websites that we have is called Vaccines for Roads. So vaccinesforroads.org, there's a link there on the screen. That includes a sample of the iRAP data that's been collected over recent years. It's a sample across 54 different countries covering 358,000 kilometers. What it does is give you data about those key performance factors that I just spoke about. So the percentage of road, for example, without pedestrian crossings, that you can search for country, income, whether it's high income or low income, the region, land use type, area type, carriageway type or flow. So you could say, okay, let me take a look at the data for, hypothetically, for India, where flow is more than 5,000 vehicles a day. I want to see what the situation is for sharp curves and runoff road risk. So that data is available today, and really encourage you to go to that website if you haven't before and take a look and see if there's some data for your country there already. It's going to give you a length of the roads assessed and some of those key performance indicators. That data could be very easily integrated into the APRSO system, into the website very quickly if we want to, if that was of interest. We're also planning to do an update of vaccines for roads later in 2022, where we'll expand the number of countries and expand the length of roads that are provided. But we can also adjust some of the key performance indicators that are reported there if there's different demands. So just to give you a sample, some interesting insights into the data that's available on that website. What we've done is take a look at a comparison between the low income and high income data sets that are in that sample. And what you find is it's perhaps not surprising that typically the high income countries have what you would say better infrastructure provision than the low income countries. And we also know that high income countries perform better in terms of safety than the low income countries. But the interesting thing for me, at least, is that the high-income countries don't have a perfect situation. What they have is a situation where the numbers are a bit better than low-income countries across all metrics. So to give you an example, the top left-hand side says 95% of low-income countries don't have formal sidewalks where pedestrians use the road and where speeds are 50 kilometers an hour or more, or 40 kilometers an hour or more. So most roads where pedestrians are and speeds are a little high in the developing or low-income countries don't have accessible sidewalks. But that's the same metric for high-income countries is only 50%. So the high-income countries certainly don't have a perfect situation when it comes to pedestrian accessibility and sidewalks. But that difference between 95 to 50 translates to really substantial difference in numbers of lives saved. And so I guess the message and that pattern plays out across those other metrics as well on the screen, which I won't talk about in detail. But I guess the message is you don't have to make your network absolutely perfect in terms of infrastructure. You have to gradually, I guess, make changes to the shape of the network and the key attributes that we know influence risk. And as you do that, you'll start to accrue benefits in terms of lives saved. So ideally, we would have every single road where there's pedestrians walking with accessible sidewalks. That is definitely the goal. But even if you can get the situation from 95% without good sidewalks to 75% without good sidewalks, that's going to translate into lives saved. And by taking that step, you're going to build momentum and hopefully set yourself on a path where you can make that a sustainable approach. In terms of the iRAP data more generally, the Vaccines for Roads is a sample of the iRAP data. In fact, in the iRAP software, there's more than 1 million kilometers of star ratings across 100 countries. So if you go to the iRAP software, vida.irap.org, you're going to be able to potentially access much richer and detailed data for each of the assessments that have been done. And as I said, an iRAP assessment includes 52 road attributes measured, including speeds and flows across every 100 meters. The access to that data is going to be controlled by the program manager. So at times you're not going to be able to access that data without permission, but we can help you set up that permission, help you contact the program managers to help you access that data. You can access complete star ratings and complete road attribute data sets. So on the map, you can see, for example, the median metrics for key highways in Kazakhstan. That's more than 1,000 kilometers of roads in Kazakhstan. And the top right-hand chart shows the line marking condition on one of the major highways in Mindanao in the Philippines. And so these are metrics that already exist for key roads that carry large percentages of travel in those countries. So in terms of the iRAP assessment for Kazakhstan, for example, we might not say do any more data collection. That's enough. They have enough data now to be able to track those metrics and act on those metrics. And what they might do is in 3 to 5 years, do a repeat of that data to see how it's changed. A key question and a key concern, obviously, is the cost of collecting this data. And it is something that I've heard often from countries that say that doing an iRAP assessment, even though the methodology is free, collecting the data can be expensive. As I said, a lot of data actually already exists, so you might not need to actually go and collect more data. It might already exist and you can already act on it. But just to give you a couple of examples of how we're working and partners are working to bring down the costs of this data collection, the Department of Rural Roads in Thailand did something really interesting. What they did is take a look at their road asset database. And so the road authority always collects data about their network, and that includes some of the attributes that are included in the iRAP model. So what they said was, look, we're not going to be able to collect data across the whole network for all 52 attributes in the iRAP model, but we already have data for, let's say, 10 or 12 of those attributes now. Can we do something valuable in terms of road safety with that data? And the answer was yes. They could do an estimate of the star ratings based on that smaller data set. So what they did was took their data, which was available for 40,000 kilometers of roads, data already collected, and did safety assessments using a light star rating model, and then acted on it very quickly. It led to the proactive identification of 1,309 risk spots. So they used that same approach that I showed for Pakistan, where they layered together the different attributes to find out where risk is likely to be highest. And they treated those locations, and they saw a 52% reduction in fatalities at those places where they'd made treatments. So really, really good example of taking their existing data, using some of the knowledge and methodology from the iRAP approach, and then putting it together in analysis and acting on it. So looking at 40,000 kilometers of roads very, very quickly. You can find some more information about that at that link on the website. So one of the questions, I guess, for every country is, do you have a road asset database already? And if so, how can we tap into that for the benefit of safety? How can we link that with the iRAP methodology to help accelerate the process? And the last example also is that something that Tejin from China was mentioning. We are very much interested in AI and big data sources. So tapping into asset database systems is part of the process. But also we're seeing that technology is getting very, very good at doing what we would say is automatically coding the roads. So instead of having a person look at a video and record the road attributes, computers are getting better at being able to do that. So what you can see on the screen is an example from Western Australian Highway Authority. This is a real project that's in action right now, where they used a LiDAR system, so a laser system instead of a camera. So the laser shoots out beams all around the road, they bounce back, and the system gets a sense of what sort of objects are around the road and how far away they are. It's taken a long time for the computers and the programmers to help to understand what it's actually seeing. But now that the progress has gotten really good at understanding that. So companies that the main roads team has been working with include Inditi and TomTom. They've developed a methodology and an iRAP system that can literally do that coding itself. And so what you can see is a picture of the road, and each color represents a different attribute of the road. Whether it's the road itself, it can see the line marking. Each dot is like a pole or a tree, and the blue sections are pedestrian crossings. The purple bits are the sidewalks. So the computer is able to see that. What that means is now we're getting to a point where we can drive vehicles along the road with the laser system, and they can be automatically recording what they're seeing and producing the star ratings almost live. So it's very powerful, and it's going to be bringing down the cost of this data collection very quickly. So I guess my point then is to say the iRAP methodology is free. It has a globally standard set of road infrastructure measures in the coding manual that can be taken and used. There's data sources already available. Star ratings have been done for lots of roads already. There's asset databases that we could tap into and leverage, but also the technology is coming very quickly to enable all of this to be put together very cost effectively and quickly. So just in conclusion, there is very strong evidence linking the road design attributes with crash likelihood and severity. So collecting this sort of data for the RSO and for policy and planning purposes is really, really valuable. It means that we can get a systematic understanding about the level of risk that's available or exists in the road, and then start really planning about how we tackle that over a period of time. A lot of the data already exists, and like I said, there's existing data sources and technology available that we can tap into to reduce costs. So that's it. Thank you very much for the chance to talk. And yeah, please feel free to contact me by email or WhatsApp, and we can discuss it more. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Greg. Very interesting. And as we see, there is iRAP has different tools that they apply for different needs as well from the country. So let's take advantage of that. So because we are running out of time, I'm just going to make two quick questions to Greg. The first one is, as you've mentioned, to operationalize the global road safety plan is key to work on safe infrastructure. So what are the golden steps for countries to go from timely infrastructure data to improving the actual infrastructure in a systematic and feasible way? That's the first question. Let's do one by one.
Yeah, okay, excellent question. And I think like the best answer to that is to take a look at the global plan and those 7 recommendations, because it does step through in a very logical way how to go about that. And it begins, for example, with defining the functional network in your country and setting performance, safety performance criteria for that. And really importantly, that's not just about saying national highway, provincial highway. We actually know that national highways, they have different characters along their length. Sometimes they're genuine rural highway, but sometimes they run through villages and towns. So their function is more like a town road or a community road. So first is to get a really good understanding about what your network actually looks like and setting the performance standards. And then the plan talks through the design standards. So making sure that design standards match up with each of those functions. So what exactly do you need to build on the network in order to achieve the safety performance targets? And then ensuring that any designs that are happening on your road, whether it's a new road or it's an upgrade or it's a rehabilitation or it's maintenance, whenever something is being done to the road, setting a star rating target and doing road safety audits to make sure that safety is comprehensively built into that process from the start. And then doing the systematic inspections of your network and setting the performance, the targets over time as well. So I would say those 7 recommendations, I would follow those steps and see about how you can, like where you're at in your country on each one of those, and then sort of what actions are needed in order to put those recommendations into place.
Thank you. And the second question is, can you share an example of an entity or country? Sorry about that noise, but there's some construction going on around. An example of an entity or country which has been able to consider infrastructure safety data as a mandatory input before proceeding to design and construction, at least, as you say, considering the key attributes that make a difference. And then just quickly, Justin is asking how to get TomTom data. So if they offer it, or if you had to ask it and you had a special, MOU or something. Thanks.
Yeah. So there are countries that have set in place safety targets, so star rating targets. Malaysia, for example, set star rating targets for the roads that they're major strategic roads. And so ensuring that they understand how they're tracking in terms of their star ratings over time for that network has been in place. You saw a presentation, for example, from Tae-Jun about how the Highway Safety Enhancement Program, which is a national program, use the star rating data and the RAP data to help guide the selection of locations that were high risk and how they've been improved. So there are a couple of examples. You can look in Australia, for example, that most of the states have some sort of star rating target set for their provincial or state highway network as well. So several examples that are in place, but also at the project level, there's lots of project examples where there's been targets set that based on this sort of data, whether it's star rating data or related to specific road attributes. India is a really good example where the World Bank has supported lots of the provinces to do safety demonstration corridors as part of the loan projects that have very specific requirements about the targets and therefore require data collection to support that. So I can share some examples about the World Bank blogs on those ones. In terms of the TomTom data, that is something that they're still developing, and we're working with them to try and make that data available. At the moment, you'll need to talk to TomTom about it. So we don't have access to that data yet, but that's something that really encourage countries to have a chat to TomTom about. It is, for example, I know the ChinaRAP team in Thailand have been talking to TomTom about accessing that data right now. And so they hopefully will be able to get a sense of where 75% of travel are happening in their cities, but also across the rural highway network as well.
Great, thank you so much, Greg. Very interesting discussion, and I think it's very useful for countries. Thank you so much, and well, you've already shared that they can contact you directly if they have any other questions, or through Abstro as well. We're happy to do that connection. So thanks a lot. I'm going to jump in quickly to have the update of other Abstro activities. So for this, I'm going to give the word to David Shelton. Most of you already know him from yesterday or from work before, but still I'm just going to do a quick brief on his work. He has experience covering road system management, regulation, policy, and strategy. Dave has also led the development of road safety strategy at state and national levels and contributed to capacity building in safe system in public and private sector organizations, including internationally in India, Indonesia, New Zealand, Thailand, and the Middle East. His particular passion is for building and supporting what is needed in multi-stakeholder setting to save lives in road transport. So thank you, Dave, and over to you.
Thank you, Maricela. And thank you to you also, Greg. That was a fascinating and insightful presentation, as they all have been. Thank you to our speakers and welcome to participants today. I'm keen to pass on to Blaise and Neil, which I will do in a moment, to speak about our training programs and our communications. Before I do that, however, just very briefly, APSO activities have been spanning an increasing range of outcomes and interventions for our members. We've had a rapidly expanding level of interest in our digital activities and in our training programs, which I'm very pleased to be able to showcase for you today. We intend to do more of this. Our key objective in doing so is to have a bigger, more expansive discussion with our member countries on road safety. So moving to a whole of safe system discussion and asking the questions of what can we be doing collectively to progress our safe systems approach to solving the problems of road safety. ADB is the secretariat to the Asia Pacific Road Safety Observatory that is expected to continue. However, as we formalise our governance arrangements, hopefully tomorrow, we will see more of the decisions starting to be made by our member countries. I'd like to recognise and thank all of our partner organisations. This is indeed a significant and large global partnership to bring about a successful observatory. In future, we're excited to see opportunities for NGOs, civil society and business to also get involved with the activities of the observatory. Our governance statute, which we'll be looking at again tomorrow with our members, provides specifically for us to have non-member countries participating in APSO's activities. And we've already had a significant number of inquiries about that, and I'm keen to progress that as quickly as we can. We've got a couple of significant studies and reports being published this year, which I should note. One is our annual report. It's important because it builds in the results of our surveying of countries on their road safety data management. We hope to have that published this year. And we're also publishing our report on minimum data requirements for member countries on road safety data. We've circulated much of that information previously, but it'll be important to have it in a formal publication to set a minimum set of safety and crash related variables, to set a common set of variables that can be reported and collected by the Observatory, and also to establish the monitoring tools for our region. We will be commencing in the new year a crash investigation and reporting assessment, which has been funded through a grant from the Global Road Safety Facility, and we're keen to use that to also provide some guidance to country to improve their crash data collection, management and use. Right now, however, I'd like to pass on to Blaise Murfitt. Blaise is coming to us from the Global Road Safety Partnership. GRSP has been a terrific partner for APSO, and Blaise will be speaking to us about the training programs that we've been running over the last 6 months, and will continue to do so. Thank you, Blaise.
Thanks so much, Dave. Morning, afternoon, evening, everybody. Great to be with you, and congratulations on a wonderful event so far. I'm just going to share my screen now. Good. Okay. So as Dave mentioned, I'm really delighted to be here to give you an update on some of the activities that have been occurring through the Asia Pacific Road Safety Observatory in regards to some training programs and also some upcoming opportunities, which I'm really delighted to talk to you about today. And in fact, this actually kind of brings us back because we did indeed talk with you at the last meeting about these upcoming opportunities, and really glad then to provide a report back on some great engagements that we've had across this year. So the Road Safety Capacity Building Program is a course that has been developed jointly by the ADB Transport Sector Group, along with the Global Road Safety Partnership and iRAP, and with the support you can see there from World Bank, GRSF, UK Aid and the ADB, and really was designed to do two primary things. The first was to see how evidence-based interventions can be I guess, inserted or included in broader transport projects, but also look at the formation of system-based approaches, standalone system-based approaches, and how indeed those different levers can be pulled to work together, which is, we know what needs to happen to ensure that we really see those reductions in fatal and serious injuries on the roads. So I'm delighted to let you know that we've had 2 modules of this course to date. The first, you can see there, was back in July and August of this year and focused on road safety management. And that was including some focus on the role of lead agencies and also in the development of road safety strategies at a national level.
Excuse me, Blaise, can I just note, I think you were sharing your screen. I cannot see your screen if you are sharing.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Let me just try again.
Lovely, great. Yep.
Great. Thanks, Dave. Sorry about that. So yes, as I mentioned to you, the first module of this course was focusing on road safety management and occurred between July and August of this year. And as you can see there, really had a primary focus on road safety lead agencies and strategies, as well as the utilization of data, which we've been talking about so much through these last 2 days, and also technology, but in that key sense of informing the use of it to enable road safety management, and also then how road safety management is so critical in coordinating approaches across the safe system approach. So then this was followed in September and October of this year again on the second module, which focused on safer road users. This included a focus on the utilization of data to understand how to judge and see risks relating to road users in countries and jurisdictions. Also a key focus on vulnerable road users. Of course, we know in our region, this is a primary area of concern, specifically when it relates to pedestrians, powered 2- and 3-wheeler riders, and bicyclists indeed. So a key focus here. And then also on that key interaction between intelligence-led enforcement and strategic communications. And across these both, and indeed throughout this program, there's a real emphasis on combining, I guess, more information sharing webinars with practical workshops. So drilling down in and underneath the topics to bring out case studies, examples, give opportunity for discussion about what works and what doesn't right across our region, and providing access to real leaders in these specific areas of technical knowledge, to not only share their kind of, I guess, high level or theoretical knowledge, but also to have them involved in conversations that really explore how these type of interventions can actually be practically applied, both, as I mentioned, as interventions that interject within broader transport projects, but also as standalone system-based approaches. And both of these have also been complemented by assignments, which again were designed to draw out those approaches and get a chance for people to feel comfortable in understanding how they could be utilized in their countries. So I'm thrilled to say that we had some fantastic engagement right across these two modules, with more than 190 participants from more than 20 countries across the region joining. Of course, we had expertise there from ADB, GRSP and iRAP, but we were also joined by a range of different partners from the regions, including Asia Injury Prevention Foundation, the Transport Accident Commission from Victoria, Australia, TRL and Vital Strategies, as well as, I should say, the expertise from our participants, who represented a vast range of government partners from the region. And also, I mean, look, a very brief snapshot there into the very strong evaluation that showed that there is a real interest in these areas, and I think as well a willingness to take these learnings and think about how they can be put into practice. And that really is the idea of this program. I think that it kind of takes that lead from the observatory in itself, which is about how we can utilize data to inform interventions. And this program, I guess, adds into that mix some of that broader thinking on how then data can inform really thinking through the evidence-based interventions that are required. So really great to see this feedback and continued strong appetite for these learnings. So with that in mind, we do have the next of the modules upcoming, as you can see there, in Q1 of next year. And this will focus in on safer roads and infrastructure. So Greg talked earlier there about the safer roads recommendations in the new global plan for the second decade of action. So that will be a key focus of this third module, which will continue to be a collaboration between ADB, iRAP and GRSP, but also bringing in expertise and partners from World Bank GRSF and the Bloomberg Philanthropies Initiative for Global Road Safety. So really leveraging knowledge, skills and examples from right across multiple programs and throughout our region. So you can see there's some of the key topics that will be an area of focus. And again, it will take the form of having some more practical emphasis, as well as some information sharing and a key assignment. So you can see at the bottom there, the more information both on that module, but also to access the existing resources from the first two modules, please do make sure that you look at the APRSO website. And also, of course, feel free to get in touch through the observatory for any more information. We do really hope that you're able to join that final module. So as I finish up, we do want to just take a moment of your time, if we can, to run just a quick couple of polls. And oh, thank you, Michelle. I can see it's already up there. So this is actually an activity that we conducted last year as well. But given here we've got such a fantastic range of participants from across our region, we'd love to hear from you about what your interest areas are for future training opportunities through the APRSO. So you can see there a range of options, and we'd love for you to identify your top 3 preferences for future trainings. So these include road safety strategies and action plans, road safety data management, safer road infrastructure, which of course, as I mentioned, will be a key focus of the next plan module, speed management, which I know has been a big area of discussion, multi-stakeholder and road safety collaborations, engaging the private sector in road safety, public engagement, enforcement of traffic laws, crash investigation and reporting, something that Dave Shotton just mentioned earlier, and also strategic communications. And then you'll see we've actually run it over into a second poll because we're slightly greedy and we want to get as much information as we can, but also judging your interest in topics such as road safety education, vehicle safety, an important element of the new global plan, motorcycle safety, which I know that Dr. Kyril mentioned as a key focus, for instance, of MIROS earlier today, road safety policy development, and post-crash response. So maybe just give that another 15 seconds or so, Michelle, just so we can allow for people to consider those. And what we'll do is ensure to collate these results. And of course, there's some of these topics that is possible for us to combine and ensure that we try and deliver as many as possible to you. But really great to get a sense of those kind of key areas of prioritization so that we can best shape future trainings for members of the APRSO. Okay, I think probably we could leave it there, Michelle, and because I'm wary of time, and you can see there that there's well, fantastic. There's a strong level of interest across the different topics, but road safety strategies and action plans is emerging there as well as data management, speed management, and collaborations also, as well as crash investigation and strategic communications. And in the second list, policy development. It's pleasing to see. Road safety education, in fact, many of the topics here. So thank you so much for your time to look at those and to provide your insight. Really appreciate it. Again, thanks to all of those who were involved in delivering the trainings to date, and of course, all the partners and for those participants who joined. And again, please do look to the APRSO website for information regarding upcoming opportunities, including that next module on safer roads. Dave, with that, I'll pass it back to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Blaise. Terrific to be partnering with JRSP. I'll pass directly now on to Neil Moore to run us through some of the very successful communications activities that APSO has been involved in. Neil, I guess I do need to remind you that we're running to a tight schedule. Thank you.
No problem at all. Brevity is assured. Okay, can you confirm that you're seeing my screen, Dave?
Yes, it's good.
Marvelous news. Okay, hello everybody. My name's Neil. I'm not a road safety expert, although I'm fast becoming one, attending events like this and reading so much material. My job is to help spread the word of what we're doing, but more importantly, what other people can do, given the right data and the right information, and try and influence conversations where you have told me in my various consultations that we need to be making that influence. So I'm going to run through what's been done so far, and then a couple of things that are coming up, and then I'm going to implore you all to sign up to and like and follow all of our material and share it so that we can spread the word as far and wide as we possibly can. So I was brought in March via the ADB, where I work as a content and communications consultant, to conduct a channel and content audit and create a strategy for content and communications. So That happened in March. In April, I sat down with a number of the stakeholders who were on this call to ask what kind of community do we want to build? How do we bring value to that community? Because we can't get people to act or take on board what we're doing unless we bring them value first. We have to give to get. How do we best provide that value through the channels that we have available to us, including social media, email, events, things like that? And which of those are going to drive the most ROI? Because we can't be everywhere at once. It's impossible. It's hard enough, as you probably know yourselves, to keep one Twitter or one LinkedIn feed up to date with new information. So we have to select carefully and make best use of our time and efforts. Having been through that, a strategy was produced featuring all of this down the right-hand side. I'm going to talk today just about these four: the audience, mission, messaging, and content that we came up with, and then show you a little bit about what's already been created and already out there. So the audience we defined through the various consultations were split into three. Firstly, of course, our government leadership and ministries, but not just transport. We need finance to invest. We need home affairs to police. We need health. We need education and climate. So we need to get a much broader reach across government than perhaps we have so far, or we need to continue that. Obviously, we have all of our lovely partners here from development organizations and NGOs, so we can count on them. But then we have a secondary audience. Obviously, I would like the ADB to prioritize this and stay on top of it and use their convening ability and their financial ability to support what we do. But it was also admitted by a lot of people that sometimes always going top down through government can be quite hard yards. It can be a little slow going at times. So are there ways we can reach out directly to schools, hospitals, police? And we're thinking about content communications plans that can help us do that. Finally, there was the private sector and the general public. There is a lot to be done in educating individuals whilst we're waiting for infrastructure to change and laws to change and financing to arrive. What can we do to help people, individuals on the ground? So these were the audiences. The mission of our communications and content, as opposed to the APRSO in total, is firstly to convince governments of the economic and social value of road safety through data, evidence, and stories. That's what we want to be publishing. And that's why the national data coordinators are going to be so important, because we're going to take that data and turn it into stories that are relatable, that are usable, that will be in decks that we hope people will be able to download and use in their own presentations, in their own countries and their own organizations, to build the case for greater investment in road safety. The second thing is we want to provide financial, educational, technical, and human resources to help governments, NGOs, and civil society implement road safety initiatives. So it's all very well talking about it, but we want to help them walk the walk as well. So every piece of content needs a call to action to drive the consumer, the user, back to some sort of request for help or an ability to join in or talk to someone or meet somebody. And then finally, we want to facilitate dialogue between all constituents that leads to action, and meetings and trainings we've been having are one of the ways we do that. And part of my job is to capture some of that and make it available on demand and spread it around as widely as possible. The messaging that we're going for is slightly different. Obviously, there is a huge human toll to road safety, an almost unthinkable toll. But the fact of the matter is, when we're talking to governments, we've found that it's not just the human toll, it's the economic toll that makes a huge difference. So we need to not be coy about telling that economic story. The fact that road safety is costing percentage points on the GDP is just unacceptable. So savings can be made for them in police and healthcare, in productivity loss due to injuries, in welfare due to looking after injured people. So, and gains to be made from inward investment by having safer cities in which to host events and host companies and things like that. Road safety is a potential vote winner. It's very much something that's for the people, that saves lives. I think we can make a case for that. And ignoring it is a liability, as we saw in Bangladesh in 2019 with the backlash from the public when a coachload of students was killed. So I think there are a lot of government level incentives to take this very, very seriously and prioritize this beyond just the injuries and loss of life, as devastating as they are. It's also a great opportunity. We have a fantastic post based on an experience in Samoa where young people were employed to pilot a model of bringing road safety education into schools. So it created jobs, it created educational possibilities. If we document these things and share them, hopefully we can replicate them elsewhere. And of course, we want everybody to understand the safe systems approach that must be deployed top down as well. So these are the messages we're going to be sharing, hopefully through all of our content. To make that content eye-catching, consistent and easy to make, we've created a brand kit. This deck is one example of it, but we've also got lots of templates, and we're using a platform called Canva, which is like Photoshop for dummies. I can't design anything. I'm not good at that. But this is like a drag and drop design platform. And it means that when we have something to share, A, we can make it visual and optimized for social platforms. And B, we don't have to wait for or pay for a designer because anybody can use this platform. It's like using Microsoft Word. It's so simple. And so I'd encourage you all to look at canva.com. But these are the templates we've made, and you'll see the content going out in our social channels that looks like this in a consistent and hopefully attractive fashion. Now, when I began and got on board, channels had been set up, but there wasn't a lot happening on them, which is fair enough. We're a new organization. Our Facebook had 2 followers, our Twitter had 50. We didn't actually have a LinkedIn page. And as I will tell you on the next slide, that to me is the single most important channel that we have. And our email database was sort of all over the place. We didn't really know who we had. Fast forward to October, and we're already having an impact. So our Facebook, which hasn't been a huge focus because Facebook is a consumer platform, and we're really focused on government and civil society right now, but it's grown anyway, 125 followers. We've doubled our Twitter followers, and we've gone from no LinkedIn presence to 101 followers in a few months. And this is all organic. There's been no sort of paid participation, and I'm only part-time myself. And thankfully, I have Cowags from ADB who's helping me as well and does all the social posting and scheduling and some of the content creation. And we're slowly growing this little organic following. And we've got 833 subscribers to our mailer now. So it's getting there bit by bit. The channels we're really focused on are LinkedIn, Twitter, and email. Why LinkedIn? Well, there are 116,000 road safety professionals on LinkedIn. So we have a huge audience we can reach out to and influence. And this does include ministers. They are on there. They are contactable. They are posting. It does include civil servants and civil society leaders. And in the time we have been posting, and we've only done 17 posts so far with our limited resources, but we've had nearly 3,000 views of the content we've put up there, which just shows you how powerful a platform LinkedIn is. Twitter, we've put out 31 tweets, so we're averaging, I think, about 7 or 8 a month. And that's what's building our followers. We've reached 128 engagements and 147 clicks. We're using a platform called Hootsuite so that we can dive in quite deeply into the analytics, find out what's working, what's not working, and double down on the good stuff. This is just one dashboard of many that we can look into. And finally, our mailers. We sent out 11 in 6 months. We're hitting a 30% average open rate, which is pretty good, but we still want to see it climb. But it's a real driver of our training and events, which are by far and away the most popular activities that we do. So we want to keep that population growing. The main thing I want to sort of impress upon everybody here today about social media is that people follow people. They don't follow organizations. This is why influencers have followings vastly more than the giant corporations that pay those influencers to influence. Individuals are more interesting than organizations. So what we need is for everybody to join us on LinkedIn by following our page, following our Twitter, liking and sharing our content with your extended networks and communities. That's how we grow. So that's my first appeal. It won't be my last. As we look to the future and how we're going to grow and do new and interesting things, I think the most thrilling thing that we have coming up is Seguridad Vital. There's lots I could say about this, but I've got about 1 minute. So Maria Segui Gomez, our colleague in APRSO who's on this call, came to us with an amazing idea. There's a television show produced in Spain that shows on a Sunday morning on mainstream television all about road safety. It's a half-hour proper magazine show, and it's really successful. It gets around 241,000 viewers per episode. And it's been going for, well, since 2009, so it's a popular show. Well, we've met the producers of that show, thanks to Maria, and now we are working, we basically rented the format off them, and we're looking to produce a version of it in Sri Lanka as a pilot for potentially the rest of the region to try and beam real road safety information and stories into people's living rooms. Someone's in the chat here. Oh, okay. All right, I'm being hurried up. Fair enough. The show is made up of all these 3 and 4 minute segments, as you can see here, and each of these work independently online. So this is how we're going to fill up our YouTube channel, our Facebook page with all these segments, which are really fascinating. The show is produced by Carlos, who's involved in the Sri Lankan version. He is an award-winning Spanish journalist and broadcaster, has been absolutely invaluable. And as it happens, I'm a former television producer myself. So between us, we really think this is a viable opportunity to pilot something in Sri Lanka that actually would work for large parts of South Asia as well, we think. The show itself has a decent following online. On Twitter, it got 276,000 engagements in April alone. So we know that this has consumer appeal, this has reach, and that's really, really important if we want to reach that grassroots level. We looked around at various countries to trial this out at, and for various reasons, Sri Lanka was the best option to us, not least because I worked with a lot of production companies there, and we are now likely to partner with Raw Media, who have a platform. They're a production company and media platform that reach 1 in 7 Sri Lankans across the nation, huge reach amongst young people. And so they are going to help produce the show and host and market it digitally, whilst we work with the Ministry for Communications on trying to find a broadcast slot for it as well. And if we manage to pull that off, I think it will be an incredibly innovative pilot program that I can't wait to report back on to see if we can't implement it elsewhere. The last thing I'm going to say to you is that social media is a hungry beast. It needs constant feeding. And we are very, very happy to publish and share your own reports, events, interviews, press releases, press appearances, information. So if you have stuff that you'd like us to share to help build our community and your community, please email afernand.consultant, that's cowags@adb.org, and we'd be very, very happy to be a bit of a publicity machine for you too. And that's everything from me, David, unless there's something else you'd like me to cover.
Thank you very much, Neil. Very rapid. I appreciate that. And I'll pass back to you now, Maricela.
Thank you, David. Well, that was interesting updates from APSRO, lots of things happening, so that's great. We're going to go for the last presentation of the day, and this is a session on sub-regional groups' role in data management. So I'm going to quickly introduce Martin Small. He has recently completed an assessment on South Asia country, road safety performance for ADB, and his works includes drafting of a pipeline of safe system projects for consideration at a sub-regional level. And Martin, of course, also has a long association of working with the region countries, doing road safety consultancy. And Johan Stranstorp has recently completed an assessment for correct country performance against the correct road safety strategy. And this work included consideration of road safety data management reports for both the above orange in draft and with ADB currently, and hopefully soon we'll be able to share. So back to you, Martin and Johan, for this quick presentation. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Maricela. So next slide, please. I'll just go very promptly through these. I was engaged by ADB to undertake a maturity assessment exercise in the SASEC countries, the 7 countries in South Asia, India, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Maldives, India, Nepal, and Myanmar, and Sri Lanka. And one of the things which became clear is, again, this is not great news, but really we're still needing to use global estimations to compare country performance. So there's a large disparity between country reported fatalities and WHO estimated fatalities. At the last estimate reckoning in 2016, about 2 fatalities in the WHO estimate for every 1 country reported fatality. We can use the Global Burden of Disease study to break down the fatalities by user group. But I think this shows that at a regional level, a sub-regional level, there's still an issue with basic fatality data. Next slide, please. And of course, fatality data is actually a small part of a big data issue. So people have been mentioning these in the session so far. There's lots of different types of data that we need to reckon with in road traffic safety: exposure data, outcome data, performance data, delivery data, and then we can go and slice and dice in different types of data or different issues such as roads, vehicles, behaviours, etc. One thing which I find useful to do with the voluntary road safety performance targets is actually to identify these as being an important data set that we need to start developing in every country. And indeed, many of these can be done at a city level as well. And what we found was that basically over the SASEC region, this data, this performance data, which is incredibly important data, is really not being collected sufficiently. I always emphasize performance data because I come from a background where I'm most concerned about the things which we know are going to make a bigger impact upon fatalities and serious injuries. These are all areas where we can put programs in place which we know can succeed. We need to monitor performance against those projects and get those projects working better and better. So there's a wide range of data needs that was revealed across the region. Next slide, please. I was asked to identify some common steps to strengthen road safety data management across SASEC. There is actually quite a large disparity in data capability. So if we talk at a regional level, there are obvious issues, but that also comes with great variance. So for example, India is going through a whole substantial process and significantly strengthening its national crash data systems. It's already got very good driver and vehicle regulatory data systems. We heard a very interesting presentation from Cambodia about that crash data system there. And of course, one of the big things that came out from Satya's presentation was the improvement, the idea of improvement. So it doesn't matter how good the data systems you have at the moment are, there's always improvements. Always need to prioritize the issues, to look at improvement across the range of data needs, whether that's exposure, outcome, performance, or delivery. Myrick talked about observational studies and situational analyses of crash data systems, which are so important. There are observational studies of safety performance indicators. Some are more straightforward than others, but they are all able to be done very simply. Helmet wearing, traffic speeds, seatbelt use. These are all rather straightforward observational studies which can be done and which can improve performance over time. I'm a big fan of saying if we're going to evaluate something, if we're going to monitor something, let's make sure we publish it so that it's out in the open and people can ask questions about it. And I also think that at a regional level, each country could consider a minimum proportion of infrastructure investment to be allocated to road safety data. Next slide. And my last slide. So I was asked, how can countries work together to improve road safety data across SASEC? Well, I think I'm a big fan of knowledge sharing, of learning by doing, of sharing information, sharing evaluations, sharing reports. It's really important to actually get projects up and delivered, and to be thinking about what the next level of improvement of that project might be in the next iteration, and to be quite open with colleagues in other countries about the issues that you face. The issues that you face in your country are of great interest to the issues that your colleagues are facing in other countries. There could be more SASEC data projects. There'd be a good case to look at a region-wide assessment of motorcycle helmet wearing, for example, a region-wide assessment of iRAP on the primary intra-regional corridors. And I think also at a sub-regional level, we could be looking more for SASEC project requirements for investment in data systems and evaluation. So every project coming with very conscious upgrading of the data systems and capabilities at a national level. That would be another simple way in which countries can work together to improve road safety across the region. Thanks, Maricela.
Thanks a lot, Martin. And Johan, please go ahead. Your turn.
Thank you. Just share my screen. All right, hello everyone. I'll be pretty brief, acknowledging the time and the time constraints, but I'm happy to see that the assessment that Martin has done and the presentation that he presented and the recommendations very much align with sort of the recommendations from our assessment as well. So in that case, we don't need to elaborate too much on it, but the study or the project that we were doing was to try to look and review for the country commitments under the ChinaRAP Road Safety Strategy and Action Plan, and the implementation status of that strategy and the required next step and some recommendations based on this assessment. So, and it was also trying to look at identify the availability and appropriateness of these national road safety policies and strategies and targets. So obviously road safety data and management and data framework is a part of that. I'm just going to share a few outcomes of that assessment and how focus on how a sub-regional body can sort of support data frameworks and be useful in that sense. So some of the outcomes that came from it was especially in relationship to using data to guide strategies and action plan, where the first one was that it's evident, and this is quotes from the final report, that it's evident from the interviews and the assessment that we made that the data collection systems are not adequate. And there's, even though there's some good examples or declarations at least, we can see that the crash data is not systematically analyzed. So in that sense, it could be concluded that it's not fully used in the planning of road safety activities. So if there's a lack of data, there's lack of intelligence, and it's not used fully. at least not systematically across the board. And it's good news in the sense that there's a lot of opportunities here for improvements in terms of guiding road safety decisions. And that is about the crash data. But of course, the focus in this session has been, as Martin said, not only about the crash data, but also about the other type of performance indicators or other type of data that sort of guides you on where you are as a country in your road safety performance. And we can see also that there's a lot of things missing there. There's a bit of a lag, sorry. And one is the second point here, which is just highlighting one example when it comes to road infrastructure program, that we can see that the key to success to do those holistic infrastructure programs is a proper network risk assessments. And those are missing in a lot of cases, which means that it sort of tends then to focus on other type of just black spot treatments, which in their case often are based on unreliable crash data. So in lack of those proper network risk assessments, there's a lack of systematic improvements. And that goes not only for road safety or infrastructure safety, but in all areas when it comes to road policing strategies, etc., etc. So there's a great opportunity to improve this, and we could see that where if we go to sort of the recommendation based on this gap analysis, just looking at the part that is relating to road safety management, there are some key recommendations, and one is, of course, to support governments in the appointment of a lead agency if it doesn't exist for road safety, which has a clear role and responsibility. And with that lead agency, normally there would be the establishment of a National Road Safety Council or a coordination committee, etc., that would sort of lead and develop strategies and action plans and systematic improvements. But one of the key recommendations, and based on or in that road safety management context, would be to support government in establishing insight center or data capacity centers with capacity in road safety data collection and analysis. Because really it's about supporting those national road safety councils or lead agencies to understand what to do, where to do it, how to do it, and where they are in the process, and also then for benchmarking. So it's in the country to support the strategy development and the actions in country, but also then in a benchmarking sense in a regional setting, to compare, to learn from each other, and to get that better knowledge. We've already talked about, others have talked about the 3 different levels of road safety data, so I don't need to go through that again. But of course, this sort of is true not only for crash data, but also for those performance indicators. And I think what I want to highlight is that we often go to or to crash data and say that it's important to get that established first, while we can see in many countries it would actually be beneficial to not wait for a perfect crash data system to be in place before you get into the data management side of things when it comes to performance indicators. There's a lot of gain in going straight to the KPIs or to the performance indicators, and make sure also that there's institutional capacity in place to collect and to monitor and to interpret the results of those performance indicators, and to base your strategies on that, not only crash data. So there's great opportunities there to start where you are. My last slides is just about some examples of where that has happened before and how it's supported regional strategies. So one is, we can see from the EU, there's reports has come out in the EU where they have an European road safety target and realize that in that sense, they need road safety management frameworks which unifies the countries around certain KPIs so that they can understand how the European Union is tracking towards that target. So what they've done, they've had a first result conference, as Martin was saying, publishing results, make it transparent, make it open for the public and also for the partners to see where you are, work on common methodologies, data collection structures, etc., to make sure that you're consistent in the way that you're looking at the data. And that's going to my last slide, when it's really about how do we support, or what can a sub-regional body do in terms of supporting that data framework and that data improvement? Let's see if I can get to the next slide. All right, I'll just do like this. All right, so when it comes to strategy and data management, I think what we take out from the assessment is that it's important to identify the key areas that are essential for the strategic direction. So whether it is vehicles, speed, infrastructure, road use, regulation, or all of it, finding those KPIs that are important for that strategic direction would be the first common goal. Perfect crash data is not the starting point. It's about identifying that, and that there's great opportunities for a sub-regional body then in the coordination of a data framework. So it's about coordination of data collection, promote quality standards and methods for data collection when it comes to surveys, observational studies, road assessments, etc. And then to sort of publicly interpret, present the results, and benchmark the results. And my last point, each country is to start where they are. I joined the seminar just when Greg from iRAP was presenting some excellent studies on where countries have started where they are. Instead of having a perfect asset management system or a perfect asset data system, they start where they are, do what they can with what they have, and that's where, again, a sub-regional body would be perfect in supporting countries to understand what do we do with the data that we have, how can we use it, can we feed it in to a data framework. Instead of just waiting for the data to be perfect, we can gain the knowledge and the guidance from the data where we are today. Thank you. I'll leave it up to you, Marcia.
Thank you very much, Johan. And sorry we got you up and running by being the last presenting, but thanks a lot for understanding and making that effort on running. Thanks a lot. So I'm just going to go straight on with wrapping up this second day, which has been intense, has been a lot of knowledge and a lot of sharing, and I hope you all enjoy it as we have. So as we've seen, there is a wide expanse of activities across Asia and the Pacific to collect road safety data. This includes even vehicle data and its key role to responding also to road trauma, using iRAP tools as well at the country level that can guide infrastructure safety investments and thus help us, preventing those losing lives on the roads. Improving crash data collection is an ongoing process. It's not easy and it's not something fast. It is a process, takes time, takes a lot of effort, and takes a lot of learning, and sometimes, as we've seen, learning through doing. So don't be afraid of it. Just, jump into the water, and we're here to support. And you've heard from many countries that it's an ongoing process, as I was saying, and it's not easy. So the best way of getting there is to start with the first steps. Also, we've just at the end heard of how sub-regional groups can assist countries in improving this road safety data as well. So let's take advantage of them. And well, sorry that we couldn't address any more questions due to the time. We've seen, and with this I'm closing, we've seen that APSRO is really an active entity for the use of all of you. And we are, supporting you with giving you a wide range of activities and communication tools and lessons learned and documents and research, and even making the connection between different communities, different countries, and different entities as well to support in the benefit of countries getting involved. So thanks a lot. If you have any question, please, Michelle is going to share on the chat now a link that will give you, the chance to make any questions to the APSRO Secretariat. So please, please, please do post it there. We will respond to you. So thanks again, and we'll see you tomorrow. So stay tuned. Bye.